This video is about how you can connect to your Raspberry Pi devices remotely. Now, I live in France in the middle of nowhere, and we sometimes have problems with our electricity. It will trip either for no reason at all or during a storm. And that isn't a major problem if we're here, but if we're on holiday, it would mean that everything in our freezers would go off. So when in the past, what I did to make sure the electricity was on, I would leave the phone line plugged in and connect up a cheap answer phone, and then every so often I could ring up from where I was on holiday, and if it answered, I knew we had electricity, and if it didn't answer, I knew there's a problem. Then I'll get a friend to come around and push in the button on the meter. Unfortunately, Orange, our service provider, has said that now all the phone calls come through the live box router, which is a pain because I wouldn't want to leave that plugged in all the time because it would be expensive. And in France, it seems that maybe 90% at least of any electrical damage in your home is caused by something coming through the phone line. So I thought I need another way, and I thought of LoRa. So next plan was have a device running LoRa here, and then have another one at, I don't know, it's about 1.5 to 2 miles away, at a friend's house, and they would communicate with each other. So all the time the electricity was on here, the device would say, I'm okay, I'm okay, I'm okay, and the other device would say, oh good. But when the electricity here went off, there would be nothing being transmitted to the other one, and then it would say, oh, I haven't heard from you in a while, and it would have a little screen that would say to our neighbours, please can you come and put shove in the button. Now, this isn't ideal because it's kind of being taking advantage of people when they're busy. So I wondered if there was another way, and I don't know how long ago I heard Raspberry Pi Connect is now out of beta, and I thought, oh, I wonder what that is, and I had a look at it, and here is the documentation page, and it's got lots of things that you can read. I mean, I'll put that link in the description if I remember. And what it means is you can install the software on your Raspberry Pi and then plug it into the internet, and you can access it from anywhere in the world, and you don't have to know the IP address. You don't have to worry about firewalls or opening ports or anything. And I thought I would give this a go. So in the next part of this video, I'm going to show how it works, and then after that I'll show how you can install it and a little bit of other stuff that might be useful. This is a bit of a rough and ready demonstration of how you can use Raspberry Pi Connect. I've already installed it on my Pi 4, my Pi 400, and even on my Pi Zero original, which I was surprised that I could. So here's my Pi 400. I will just open up with the mouse on it. I'll just open up a text window, then we can see really what's happening. Right, so I go onto my PC and I type in connect.raspberrypi.com, and that asks me to sign in, and yes, I already have a Raspberry Pi ID, and there's my signing credentials, And there we have the devices that are on my account. Now the Raspberry Pi, the Pi Zero is plugged in, the Pi 400 is plugged in, but I've only got one power supply for a 400, which is why I don't have the 4 connected. And you go on here and you can connect via. And screen sharing is like VNC, and remote shell is like SSH. So I don't want to go onto the 0, I want to go onto the 400. Screen sharing. I'll minimize that. And there we go. That looks pretty similar. And here I am, I'm typing on the PC. So I put from PC, and you can just about see up there that it's a copy, it's a mirror image of that. And if I go on with it to the Pi 400, I can just go 400, something like that, which is as you'd like it to be. Now these are on a different network. This is on my normal network and my PC is on a different network. Oh, and before I forget, you've got these keys down here, Control, the Raspberry thing, Alt S, whatever. And that is because sometimes if you're working on your PC and you go Control C, the PC will intercept it before it actually gets to this window. So that's why you have those there. So what can you do? You can do copy from remote. So say if I've typed in lots of gobbledygook there, and with my, well, it wouldn't really matter whether I copied it with the 400 mouse or the other one. Come on, apart from this mouse does not work very well. So I go Control C, and that has copied those bits of rubbish into the clipboard on the 400. And what you can do is you go, this is the PC mouse, you can go copy from remote, and it says copied, and that means it's copied the contents of the clipboard on the 400 to the clipboard on the PC. And if I go into here and I go Control B, there we go, that's done that. And the paste works in exactly the same way, only in reverse. So what else can we do with this? We can go and go to YouTube and see what is recommended. Ah, one of mine, hurrah! Now you can press play and you can see they're both exactly the same, and you can hear the audio, but the audio, I'll turn that off, stupid woman, the audio is not being transmitted to the PC, to any client that you connect it to. You don't get the audio. I don't know why. I think this is a feature rather than a bug, but it's Raspberry Pi Connect is based on Zoom technology, so they would definitely be able to do it if they wanted to, but they don't. So the sound you heard was actually coming out of my Bluetooth speaker over there, connected to my Raspberry Pi. So you can, where's the arrow gone? Come on. This is my PC doing this. You can play, and then on the Pi 400 you can pause it. So that's all pretty good. You can do all sorts of other things. You can go into File Manager. That was from the 400, and then you can go into something using the PC. You can do all sorts of things. But what you cannot do is, I cannot, and I don't think anyone can, you can't do a file transfer. So it isn't like you can go in, whoops, it isn't like you can go into File Manager and then what might I have something in? Don't have anything. Bookshelf. Then you can't click on that and then go Control C like that, and then on your PC, if you go copy from remote, it says it's copied, but it hasn't copied. It can't copy a file. So if I go back into WordPad, get rid of that, you can tell it hasn't copied anything because it's still what it was there before. So that's the thing that I don't know whether it will be added as a feature or what, but that is just about it. I mean, you can do what you want. You can do what you want apart from file transfer and listening to anything. So if I just leave that one like that, and I'm still on Windows, here we go, I go onto personal devices, and this time I want to connect to the Pi Zero, which is a lot slower because it's very slow. I'll minimize that window, and here we go. To wait a bit. It would be a lot quicker if I was on the same network, but that isn't the point. There'll be no point in that. So I'll do that. Right, so that window which says RPI 0 is completely independent from that one. So I can do something like nothing very quickly. Whoops, I don't want graphics, I don't have anything. Calculator. There's the calculator, and it's called a gaculator. Yeah, that wasn't me, that is a typo, but you can still go on and use your 400 screen as well. Picture on my so I will now, and if you want to disconnect, you just press disconnect and you can close the window, but you can reconnect if you so wish. Right, I'll just minimize that and we'll go back to playing on the 400. Right, so we've just got, oh, we don't need that. Oh, that's mousepad and that's mousepad. Right, so that shows you can connect two clients to one Raspberry Pi device, but you can also no, that didn't show that. That showed that one device, one client, i.e. my PC, can connect to two Raspberry Pi devices. That's what I was doing. But I'll just show you that you can have two devices connected to one Raspberry Pi. So what I've done is, in order, because I need a camera for this bit, I have copied that, including the C. I've copied all of that and I've put it into a QR code like that. So if you scan it, I mean, if you scan that while you're watching this video, it won't actually get you into my my Raspberry Pi set up and everything, because you need a password, but I don't need a password. So here is my phone, my jolly old phone. Hello phone. And I'll go onto the camera and I will scan that, and it comes up with, I don't know whether, no, it won't still be there, you can't, I will just press that. It says raspberrypi.com, and you can press on it, and when you do, it does that, and you can sign in as me. So I will sign in, and because I copied that connect line, it will take me to the 400, nothing else. So now it's jolly small, but I might be able to press the Raspberry Pi button. I'm missing, aha, there we go, Raspberry Pi button, and then I'll just choose anything random because I can't see. Oh, no idea what that is. Right, that's file manager, I think. So that means you can undo that, and if you are minimize that, and exactly the same thing is happening on my little screen as in on the real screen and the PC screen. So if I minimize that, and I can still type more stuff. Oops, you can't see. You can, yeah, you can just about see. It's happening everywhere. But what you can't do is you cannot type on a screen keyboard. It has to be a physical keyboard. So I thought, So what I did was I tried this chappy. Probably everyone's got one of these. Only it's better the right way up. And I connected that up to my phone, and it worked beautifully with letters and numbers and things like that, but it couldn't cope with white space, and I thought there's no point of doing that. I don't have a Bluetooth keyboard, so what I got was a very old keyboard, very portable old keyboard, which is also upside down. Right, there's my very old keyboard. In fact, it is so old that you can see it doesn't have the USB connector. It's one of the old, I don't know what you called them, which has to connect to USB. And then I've got that thing which is USB to my phone. So I will plug that into my phone. There, plugged into my phone. And probably it's easiest if you watch there. And here's the keyboard, and white space works, everything works. So that's proved that you can have two clients. You can have two clients connected to one Raspberry Pi device. I think that's about all I can think of at the moment. So I will set up everything, and I will show how to set up Raspberry Pi Connect, and I'll be using my Pi 3 for this, I think. And when I set up the 4 and the 400, I did it with all the keyboard and power supply, keyboard, what else was plugged in, the screen, the mouse, the whole kit and caboodle. But this time I'm going to be doing it without anything plugged in, so it will be just my Raspberry Pi 3 with an SD card and the power supply. So hopefully it will work. Right, I'm now going to attempt to install Raspberry Pi Connect on my Pi 3, so fingers crossed. First of all, I want to go on to Putty. No, not Putty. Raspberry Pi Imager. Yep, there we go, Raspberry Pi Imager. And what I do here is you go, oh, I've got a Raspberry Pi 3. Now, where's it gone? Oh, right, Raspberry Pi 3 there. And the operating system. You have to choose one with book one, which are those two. And I used 32-bit just because I was using 64-bit on my 4 and 5, so I chose that. And then here I would normally have a micro SD card plugged in, and I would choose that one. But I'm not doing this in anger. I've done it before. I'm just showing how to do it because my computer and internet are so slow. It would take very, very long time. So I'm pretending to be doing it. So now you go Control Shift X, and it brings up this menu, and set the host name to whatever you want. I've called it RP3 because it's a RP3, and then I've just set the username and password as Pi and Raspberry. Oops, that's my SSID and password. I've set I'm in GB because sometimes I am, and then time zone and keyboard layout. Wonderful. But the important thing that you have to remember is services. You have to enable SSH, and then options doesn't really do anything, so that's what I've done. And so then what you do is you choose your generic G blah 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 and next, and it will do the business. So after that's done, which would take hours for me, close that. And the way that I find out my IP address is I go on to the home page of my router, which is that. Like that. My connected devices. You can be grateful I've translated this from French because that was more difficult. And there we have RP3 there. Click on that and it will tell me, yeah, 192.168.124. So that's all I need to know there. So now go on to Putty and you go 192.168.1.24 and SSH, yeah, login as Pi Raspberry. You haven't changed your password. This is a security risk. I don't care. I like to live dangerously. Now, what do? Oh no, I was about to do something that I shouldn't have done. Now I go, it's always good practice to go sudo apt update, but that would take me ages. I've already done it. It would take me about 3 hours. And then you go sudo apt upgrade. Again, I'm not going to do it, but sometime, I don't know how far through it would be for you, it will pause and ask you whether you want to update something. It's some package that they said you've actually changed it yourself. Do you want this upgrade to keep your changes or replace it? I went no, because N for no was recommended. I don't know what would happen if you pressed yes, but I wasn't going to risk it. So then assume that's all worked swimmingly well. Now you want to go to sudo raspi config. Have I spelled it right? Yep. And you go down to interface options and you go down to VNC. Would you like the VNC to be enabled? Yes, I jolly well would. It is enabled. Finish. Right. I'll minimize that window. I won't close it in case I've done something wrong. So now I want to go on to VNC, and that's the number I want, because I actually had to do this before. Something went terribly wrong. Oh, some update or whatever went terribly wrong, so I had to pause. Right, and here we are. I am connected to my Raspberry Pi 3 via VNC. So up here there is turn on Raspberry Pi Connect. So you turn on Raspberry Pi Connect and nothing appears to have happened. So you click on it again and it says sign in. Oh, I forgot to mention, and I really ought to have mentioned this. When I clicked on that, it comes up with a browser, and that is Chromium. When I was doing it with my Raspberry Pi Zero, it didn't work, and it came up with an error message. And just in case you're doing this installation with a Pi Zero or an original Pi or Pi 2, you might meet the same problem. And I googled the error message, and it said that the hardware, it needed better hardware, that you needed neon something or other. And I thought, well, you can't do anything with a Pi Zero. It's use it or don't use it. So what I did was I googled what browser can you use with Pi Zero. Had to be Pi Zero, not Pi Zero 2. And then I thought if I installed that, it might help. So I went back to Putty because I've got things going on there. So what I did was sudo apt install Midori, which of course I'm not going to do because I'm using Pi 3, so I don't need to do that. I found a couple of pages, on the internet when I googled it. Some people said it was sudo apt-get install, but I think that was a previous version, or I do not know what's changed. Anyway, that's what you do. And after you've done that, you go on to that, preferences, recommended software. Hopefully this won't take too long, because it took ages before, which is why I stopped the video. Maybe I ought to pause the video. Oh, come on, you can always just fast forward through this bit. Come on. I'm going to get annoyed. You can fast forward. This is annoying. Ah, well, at least something moved. Oh, I'll have some tea. I don't know, maybe it's my rec master. Ah, Webmaster that was slowing everything down. Right, here we are. It's got Chromium with a tick, and it's got Firefox with a tick, whatever Squeakboard is. Right, so Chromium and Firefox, you untick those and you press apply. But I don't, because I do want them because I'm using Pi 3. So that all was just an aside if you happen to be using an older than a Pi 3. So here we go, back to where we were. Sign in with your Pi ID. If you don't have one, you can create one. So here we go, create one. Right, you just set up that and it will create your nice Pi ID. But I don't need to do that because I've got one. So sign in as Charlotte. Doop doop. Create device. Right, well, I'm calling it RP3 and sign in. Now, device sign-in successful, blah, 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 blah. You can now close this window or view all devices. Well, I may as well view all devices, just out of interest. There we go. My RP3 is online and my 0404 are not online, but I don't need that, so I can close that window. If I go onto my emails, right, new device sign in. If this was you, that's all right. If you don't, you can delete it. But it was me. It was me indeed. So we open up another window. Now, is there anything else I need to do? I don't think so. Right, so go over here. Go connect raspberrypi.com. Sign in with your ID. There we go. Connect via to my Raspberry Pi 3 and I can go into there. It says RP3 up there. Look, RP3, so you know you're connecting to the right one. Now, it isn't actually this slow, it's my internet that is this slow. It isn't normally this slow. I think it must be Webmaster that's slowing everything down. Oh, I'll close VNC and I'll close Putty, wherever Putty is. Yes, that might make it better. I have no idea why it is so slow. Let's try again. Right, connect via screen sharing. There. I think it was because I had VNC and Putty and God knows what open. So here we go, new screen sharing session started, Raspberry Pi Connect, and it will tell you all sorts of things. Right, it tells me my IP address and everything. So that is just to get everything signed in, and that's what I did before. You know, now you can go through and look at what I did on the previous bit of the video. So that's about it. Now, because of my demo, I used a QR code and the camera on my phone to be able to get access to Raspberry Pi Connect. I thought I'd just show a simple way of being able to create QR codes in Python. If you aren't interested in QR codes, then the rest of the video is solely about QR codes, so you may as well stop watching now. And I'm not an expert, so I can do things like change the color of the dark squares, the light squares, rotate it, put in a background to make it more interesting, put in a moving background. What else can I do? And then you can create a QR code which your friends can come in and scan to get access to your Wi-Fi network, and also you can put in something so it gives you access to a URL, and that is about all I'm doing. So here is a QR code. That's weenie. Now I can just about scan that with my iPad, but it's quite difficult. That is the default size that comes out of the software that I'm using. So they give you the option to make it bigger, and that's bigger. That's 5 times bigger. And I'm just going to say what they call things in their software. Now, the bit on the outside is called the quiet zone, and it defaults to 4 units wide, and it means that your camera can understand the QR code a bit better. Well, I mean, you can make it bigger, and if you make it smaller, you can even get rid of it at all, and then your camera might struggle. So we've got scale to make it how big it is, quiet zone, and then they imaginatively call all the dark squares dark and all the light squares light as a parameter. And then if you look at that square and that square and that square, and then there are a few more bits somewhere or other, and that is what is telling the camera that it is a QR code, and the rest of the dark bits are data, and that is about it. So I'll come back and show you how to do it. I'm using Thonny, and the first thing you need to do is to install the Senyo, which is what I'm using to create the QR code. So it's Senyo like that, and there we go, QR code and micro QR code generator for Python. So if you click on that, it tells you all about it. It says uninstall for me because I've already installed it, but you just install it. And there is a page, Senyo documentation. I'll leave a link to that, and it tells you all about what you can do, a lot better than I can tell you. And there we go, module names, dark, lots and lots of wonderful stuff, but it's easier to be shown how to do it before you get into looking at all the documentation. So first of all, I've got this little program, and you just import Senyo, and then you go QR code equals Senyo make QR, and that's the data that goes into it, and that's the name of it. And I'm starting off using a PNG file, and in order to see what's happening, I'll look at files. Whoops, there, that's about right. So we'll just run that, and it doesn't look like anything's happened, and that's because you need to refresh your files. There we go, demo small. And there is the little QR code. If you want to make it bigger, you can add in a parameter of scale equals 5. Oh, best to call it bigger actually. B-I-G-G-E-R. Refresh again. There, that's better. And what else can you do? So that's the scale, and you can change the colour of the dark bits. So you can go dark equals, and you can either choose a colour, or you can use hexadecimal, or you can use a tuple. So I will just show you what you can do. Right, that's the one, that's the page we want. And this is CSS Color Module Level 3, whatever. I'll leave the link for this as well if I remember. Right, here are all the colours that you can use. So you can use chartreuse, burley wood, everything like that. So we'll try crimson. Crimson, crimson, crimson. So why is that on top of my bar? That's better. Crimson. Dark equals crimson. Crimson. Look at it again. And there you go, the dark equals crimson. And you can go light equals, and you can mix and match whether you want to use whoops, don't know what happened there. You can mix and match whether you want to use a tuple or the hex or the name. So what shall we choose? We want something nice and light with a lemon chiffon. Right, that's 255, 250, 205. Can I remember that? 255, 250, 205. Right. 255, 250, 205. I think that was right. We'll run that. There, that looks very pretty. And as I said, some of the dark ones are saying hello, I'm a QR code, and some are data. So you can change the colour of the data to something else if you want. So that, they use very imaginative names here. You can go data dark, whoops, need to spell dark right. Data dark equals, shall we choose indigo? Indigo would be nice. I still can't spell dark equals indigo. What will that do? Yeah, and now you can tell the difference between what is the QR code itself and what is the data. And you can do the same with light. So you can go data light equals what do we want? I want a nice light blue. Aha! It's called light blue. That's handy. But we won't call it by the colour. It will be ADD. Oh, I never remember that. ADD8E6. Whoops. I think that's right. We'll try running that. Yep, there we go. Light blue, indigo, crimson and lemon chiffon. You can change the scale, of course. You could make it bigger if you wish. There we go. What else can we do? Oh, we can go quiet zone. Can't spell zone equals. What shall we go for the quiet zone? Quiet zone. Fuchsia. Let's make that fuchsia. And as well as that, you could make it wider if you wished, which is border equals, so I'll call it 8 there. And I believe, I might be wrong, I believe that's all the basic properties that I've used. Ugh, that is really horrible. But even though that is really horrible, you can try scanning it. I will just check whether I can scan it. I won't show it on the video because everything went horrendously wrong when I tried to do that. So here we go. I've got camera. I will look at that, and it says hurrah! Exclamation mark. Well, I really ought to say that is absolutely disgusting. So that is the first introduction of what you can do with a QR code. The next thing I want to try is to connect to a web page. It's going to be one of my YouTube videos. So instead of having hurrah there, I will there, that's the link to a YouTube video. Who knows which one it is? And we will, I've got to get rid of that awful fuchsia. Right, we'll try running that. And I still called it bigger, which is pretty stupid. Right, there we have a much nicer looking QR code, and I'll see whether I can scan that with my camera. And it says at the bottom u2.b something. It doesn't tell me what it is, so I'll go like that, and then hopefully my iPad is showing the video. That's one of my Iceland videos. Right, so that works quite well. Get rid of that. What else do we have? Get rid of that one, and got another demo here, and this is when you want to create a QR code to connect to your Wi-Fi. So all you have to do is, well, exactly what I've put there. Now everyone knows my Wi-Fi details, but it doesn't matter. So we'll run that and refresh. There's a Wi-Fi QR thingy. I will see if I can scan that, and at the bottom of my screen it says join mailbox network. I don't, if I hold that like that, and oh, I need to, this is all very difficult, because if I move it, I know it probably won't work. Right, so my camera is pointed, right, so I need another pair of hands. I've got join mailbox network there. I fold that like that. Right, join mailbox network there. And if I put the camera like that, it doesn't really say anything. This is very annoying. Right, so I will go yes, and there it says join mailbox network, and if you tap on it, it will do the business. So that's just another little thing that you can do, and I'll think of what else I can do. I forgot to say that, of course, you can always print out the QR code with your Wi-Fi details on, and I've seen people do this when they're running an Airbnb and they just stick it on the wall, which makes it easy for people to get access to the Wi-Fi. And file format, I've used, up to now, I've been using just the PNG file format for the QR codes, which is just a bitmap of pixels. But if you wanted to make it bigger, if you expanded it, it might go a bit blurry. So you can use SVG, and that has the advantage that it also can be opened in a text editor if you wanted to have a look at it. Then there's PDF, and that means that you could expand it to make it fill up the screen on a little device like your phone, to make it easier. There's text if you're displaying on a terminal, but that can be pretty difficult for a camera to read. And then there's an ANSI file, which isn't really scannable if you print it out, if you display it, but you could always write a Python script just to read it and display what you wanted to display. If I remember, I'll put that in the description. But moving on to more exciting things, to have images on your QR codes, you need to install a couple of things. So if you go into manage packages, and there's something called QR code artistic. Yeah, there we go. I've got it installed, but you can click on that and install it. And then you'll also need pillow. There, comes up the top. That's one that's very useful as well. I forgot to say that if you just want to save it as a different file format, all you have to do is replace the PNG with SVG or text or whatever. I knew I'd forget something. Now, next thing is you can rotate a QR code, and this uses pillow, so you just, I'll make that a bit bigger. I will make that a bit bigger. There. You just use this QR code .to_PIL, and that does the business. And it means that instead of any of your, normally you have the scale, as in here, you have the scale, dark, light, blah, 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 in the save. You have it in this to_PIL thing. So there you have the scale, light blue, dark blue, and rotate. And it's rotate anti-clockwise. So if we just run that and refresh, can't remember what I called it, refresh, rotated Q, yeah, and have a look at that. There, it's rotated. But you might notice that as it's rotated, normally round there you have the quiet zone, and it's cut off the corners of the quiet zone. It's got up to there, but it doesn't go beyond. So you can fix that by just after rotate, you just go expand equals true. I believe that will work. So we run that, have another look at it, and there, you've got your quiet zone as you'd like it. there's something else you can do, and that is to add transparency to your QR code. So this is just the basic one with all colours, and you have to use the hex for your colour, and that's 6 characters, and if you put in another 2, like you could put in CC, that is adding a level of transparency. So CC is quite high, a high number, so it isn't very transparent, but you could go, I don't know, 5, something like that, and that would be a lot more transparent. But it only does anything if you've got a background, and I haven't so far. I mean, I've tried it and it didn't seem to really do anything, so that's just something that you might want to play with. So now I'm going to see if I can use an image as the background to a QR code. I've got a couple of images here. This one, which is a static one, very nice dragon, and this one, that's a GIF or GIF, however you like to say it, and they are both from Jiffy, unless it's Giphy. Thank you very much. So what we do is, I don't know what my computer's doing, it's making a noise. You need to have installed qrcode.save, and then you just create the QR code with nothing but what you want it to show up, if you know what I mean, the data. That's the data for the QR code, and then down here you do that QR code to artistic, and that's where you put in all that stuff, because normally you would have put it in the actual save, but you put it in the to artistic, and you just put the background image, and try running that and refresh. There we go. Now I've tried the transparent thing and it didn't make any difference, so I think what it is the transparent qualities only work, well, they might not work on a PNG. Maybe that's my problem. Anyway, it didn't seem to make any difference, so I thought I'd give up with that, but you can still scan it, one hopes. So I've got my iPad there, it says very artistic, and to prove that, if you look up the top, it's searching for, whoops, there, very artistic right at the top. Doesn't do anything, doesn't find anything, because it's just a phrase. So I'll try showing you what happens with this one. There we go, nice moving image, and again you can scan that and it works, but I won't bother to, because you'll believe me. Now that is when you have your images in the same directory as where you're working. You can use path or whatever it is, path lib, so you can get your images from other directories on your computer, but you might want to get them from the internet. Again, you need QR code artistic installed, and I'm using that so that I can get the URL open for that image file, which again is from Giphy or Jiffy, and so that is just the YouTube video I want to show when I click on when I read the QR code, and that's all there is to it. I haven't done anything with making the QR code different colours. So the trouble with this is my internet is so slow that I have to wait for ages before it actually comes up, because it has to go away and read and everything, and my computer normally goes into overdrive. So I will start this running, and then I will come back, I'll pause the video and then come back when it's actually done the business. So there, I'm pausing. If I knew how to pause. Right, I will. Right, I'm back. It's actually done it. Well, I hope it's done it. So if I double click on the shapes, there you go. That is coming from the internet, and it's doing whatever it's doing, which all looks very nice. Can I read it? Of course, you might want to read it yourself at home, but who knows? Come on, camera. There. Now, it comes up at the bottom, youtube.com. So I will choose that and see what happens. I'll move that out of the way and wait until this loads. It's gone into an advert you do not want to see. Or I'll put some volume on it as well. Right, there we go. Can you recognise him? Yes, it's Bogey. It can actually link to a Bogey, so BBF will be very, very pleased. So that's about all there is to it, unless you want to carry on watching Bogey. I quite do like watching Bogey. Mr. Berger has done an excellent job. Right, you can watch it yourself.